All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to make some salsa verde. It's going to be a pretty easy mix together. I've already got my tomatillos already cleaned. I took the husks off of them, cleaned them, and now I've got them positioned on a tray because I'm going to roast these and get a good flavor out of them. So I've got them all kind of face down, that way when I go to rotate them after about 4 minutes on broil, then I can flip them around real quick and I know which ones flipped and which ones didn't. So I've got my tomatillos spread out. I've got a couple of jalapenos. I've got some fresh garlic that I just cut off the end for. And now I'm just going to place that up. I'm going to grab some olive oil. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of olive oil onto the garlic because that'll help roast that garlic nice. You'll get that good, nice roasted garlic flavor out of there. So I'm going to squeeze that on there. And now it's going to go into the oven on broil. On high broil for about 4 or 5 minutes till they get nice and golden brown on top. So we're going to get those in there. And I got the rack about the second shelf down in the oven. So we're going to just get those in there. And as I'm waiting for that, I'm going to chop up some onion. I'm going to use like one large one and one like medium to smaller size. I'm just going to roughly chop this just to give it a little bit more ease. I'm going to show you why this is going to be such an easy recipe to make. All right, this onion chopped up. There's no special trick to chopping these onions today. They're just, as long as they get kind of a nice coarse rough chop on them, they'll be good, because I'm not going to be doing all the work. So I'm just going to basically quarter them up just to kind of give it a little bit of ease onto the machinery. And there you go. So we got that figured out. So we got that ready. Now we got to get some cilantro. Grab a good, I would say a good handful, and just kind of break it up a little bit. One more nice chop, and that'll be ready to go. This will probably be about 3/4 of a cup or so. I like cilantro, so I'm using a little on the heavier end. You could use a little bit less. And then in here I've got a little bit of sugar, or a sweetener, whatever you want to use. You want to use honey as sugar substitute. I'm using a sugar substitute. And I've got about a 1/4 cup of lime juice freshly squeezed in there. And then that's pretty much going to be the base of my salsa. I'm going to use probably a little bit of sea salt in there when I get it all together. Once the tomatillos, jalapenos, and the garlic are ready, we'll come back and show you how. So now what I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in my lime juice into a blender, and that way I get some moisture in the bottom of it. I'm going to throw in these tomatillos. Just toss them in, keep them nice and whole. I grab them with my hands, but they are pretty hot. They just got out of the nice broiled oven. It's all in there. Now I've got most of them in. Now I'm going to start kind of layering it. That way everything kind of gets mixed in nice. So I've got my onions. This is why I kind of wanted them nicely roughly chopped, because it'll help on the blender. Some cilantro, a little bit of that sweetener, and that's going to help cut down on some of this tartness. I also have on standby, just in case, I got some water and a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that will help get this more liquefied. So I don't want to put it in yet because I want to see how much juices come out of these tomatillos. And the other thing I want to do is just cut off the end where the stem was of the jalapeno, and I might just rough chop that up as well. Just kind of keep it easier on the blender. That stem out of there. Throw that in there. All right, and then more to finish off these tomatillos. You can also, now this is like the easiest part of doing roasted garlic. All you gotta do is squeeze this thing now. And these garlic is just gonna pop out of it. What I should do is grab a paper towel and watch. Look how easy that is for that garlic to come out of there. You're gonna get so much flavor off of that roasted garlic than anything else. Let's throw that in there. Alright, now finish off your tomatillos. And if you end up doing a whole bunch, make sure you can do this in batches. So just reserve some of your lime juice and everything else and just kind of keep layering it in. And that helps make sure that everything gets mixed up nice. I think we'll have just enough to fill this and not overwork the blender. Put that all up in there. Alright. And don't forget about the last jalapeno. This will give it the nice heat that we're looking for out of the salsa. Alright. If you didn't want it very hot, you could take the seeds out. If you want it hotter, add more jalapenos or any other type of peppers that you like. And then don't forget your last little bit of sweetener. Put your top on. Now this will get a little bit loud. Now what I'm just looking for is I'm just kind of checking to make sure. I want to see how thick or thin this is. If you really thin this out, you can make this over as a sauce over the top of like enchiladas or burritos or tacos. This I just want to dip some chips in, so I want to make sure that it's got a good chunkiness to it. I want to be able to eat it all. I'm just going to kind of check it out. That looks like a nice chunky salsa. That looks pretty good. So now I'll get this pan out of the way. And now if I were to jar this, what I would end up doing is I would probably end up cooking this down a little bit just to kind of get it cooked on the stove top. I would probably put it in the pot for about 10 minutes, maybe just get it to a boil, stop it. And then I would get these jars, I would sanitize the jars, and then I'd boil the jars with the lids on them. But we go through this much salsa probably within a week or two that it's not going to go bad. So I've already got some sterilized jars and lids ready to go. So I'm just pouring this in. And I'm going to get another clean paper towel. Just kind of clean the lid off. And you want to stay about 1/4 inch from the top-ish, just so. Put your lid on. Now you got some salsa, good for about a couple weeks for sure. Like I said, if you want it to last a little bit longer, you can cook this down in like a normal canning process. But we'll go through this enough. Alright, now one big jar. And that's the rest of that. Alright, now we're going to give it a shot. Alright, let's see what this tastes like. Should be good, fresh. That's a good salsa verde right there. It's got a little bit of heat from that jalapeno. The onions are awesome in it. You can taste that roasted garlic. I didn't end up using the water vinegar mix only because those tomatillos were just nice and juicy enough that it provided what I wanted. That's a really good everyday salsa, and that took about 10-15 minutes to make. The longest part was husking the tomatillos, washing them, and then waiting 10 minutes for them to roast up, and that was it. All right, guys, have a good day. Hope you like the salsa recipe.